My name's Brad Little for Team Juggernaut. This is my homie Daniel. I'll show him how to sumo deadlift today. He is a CrossFit athlete, so he really never sumo deadlifts. So this is going to be a real learning experience for him. So first I want him to just walk up to the bar, set up the way he normally would. I'm going to start from the bottom and kind of create him all the way up. Okay. He's starting pretty close to the bar. We always want to make him get as close as possible to the bar with a sumo deadlift. And his shoes aren't necessarily flat. We want a really flat shoe. You can't go barefoot because you're going to slide, but like a chuck toe is pretty good. From here, I can see that his feet are pointed in pretty bad. It's going to lock his hips up at the bottom, keep him spreading. So I want you to turn your toe out a little more. Don't go wider. Just like that. Make sure as close as possible. And then go ahead and grab the bar. Don't pull it yet. Let's get down to your position. And if you can see here, his knee is in front of the bar pretty bad. And if you look from the front, his knee is inward from his ankle. You always want the knee to be directly over the ankle, and you want the knee to be directly over top of or behind the bar. Behind if possible, but you have to be really flexible for that. Okay, come on back up. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure when he gets to the bottom, you're going to spread as hard as possible. You're going to try to get your knee to come back, and you're going to make sure your back's staying flat in the bottom, in the lumbar region. You're going to bring your hips in. I don't want you to round. I don't want you to push your knees forward. Just spread and let your hips come forward. That's a little better. That's actually about where I go. And as you can see, his knees are actually over top of his ankle here. So his width is perfect. That's what you want at the bottom, because if your knee's in or out a little bit too much, you're not going to have the torque you need to get the bar off the ground. Come back here. Are you weaker at the bottom or the top? Okay. For somebody that's a little weaker at the bottom, we're going to have him sitting really low. So that way, weaker at the bottom. At the bottom, sorry. If he's weak at the bottom, we're going to let him keep his hips a little higher, like I pull. He's going to be able to keep his shoulders a little more forward. You're still going to be over top of the bar instead of in front of it. He's going to be able to get a little higher with his hips, so to make you have a little more power at the bottom because you have your hips and your back engaged. If he was weaker at the top, we'd have him sitting really low and spreading really wide. That way his upper back is a lot more upright. The more upright your upper body is, your lockout's going to be because your range of motion is a little lower. But for him, we're going to go set up. Spread really hard. Bring your hips up a little more. Right there. That's going to be your start position. The way I pick where the start position is going to be is because start at the bottom of the way. As he comes up, break your hips. Right there, your shoulders are directly over the bar. As soon as the shoulders are directly over the bar, keep a neutral head position, start bringing it up. Go ahead and like that. Okay. See how the bar's staying in front of him? He's not pointing back into him. Go ahead and look. A lot of times with sumo deadlift, when a guy pulls the bar, it's going to kind of swing out a little bit. And one of the hardest things to teach people is to pull it back into him. You're not picking the bar up, you're pulling it back. That's the reason if you look at somebody like Dave Hoff, when he lost a sumo deadlift, it was like this, even me. Well, I don't have to use myself as an example, but I lean back pretty far. But if you lean back too much, you're going to fall. That's the reason I don't like to use myself. I fall a lot. So go ahead and pull it. When it gets to your knee, pull it back into your hips as hard as possible. Back. Way better. As you can see that on the camera, the bar's behind his knee there. Before it was directly over top of his sitting like this. He's got a lot more lean there, so he's going to have a lot shorter range of motion. Go ahead and lower it. Have a lot shorter range of motion. The locket's going to be a lot easier. When the bar's out in front of you, that extra inch or two is going to make it way harder. You see a lot of guys miss up top because of that, even though they're struggling at the bottom, they go a little faster, and they just stick up top. You can't push your hips through. The other thing is, when the bar gets to your knees now, instead of raising it, pulling your shoulders back, when it gets to your knees, I just want you to start pushing your hips through. Don't worry about bringing your shoulders back. Go ahead and pick it up. Stop at your knees. And just push your hips through. There you go. Like that. Good. What's going to happen there is a lot of people will be in this position at the top, their back a little more rounded over, and they'll try to pull it back. But really you don't have to, because as soon as the bar comes above your knee, all you have to do is get your hips through. As long as your hips lock out, it's a good lift. So there's no point in throwing your shoulders back. I mean, you can fall back like this if you get it all the way locked out. But if you're struggling with a lift, just push your hips through and pull your shoulders back a little behind the bar, and it will pass. You can get that by throwing your head down. A lot of guys will lock out like this and really that's just increasing range of motion. If you watch me deadlift, I'm not necessarily a really strong guy, but I have my range of motion cut down as low as possible. It's keeping the head neutral through the whole pull, and getting to the top, and slamming your head through, tucking your chin, will take probably 2 inches off anybody's pull. Anybody that's never done it knows significant difference up top because of that. Introduction to Sumo Deadlift. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to contact me because a lot of stuff's going to come up that will be really individual problems and not everybody has to address. I mean, I have my own problems anyway. But basically, for assistance with this movement, I use a close stance. A lot of close stance movements will transfer really well over to this movement, same as a Sumo Deadlift will transfer over to conventional deadlift. I use a lot of close stance Olympic high rep squats. That's probably the biggest contributor to my Sumo Deadlift. I like a lot of deficit pulls, strengthen the lower back. Any core work is going to help any deadlift, really, conventional or sumo. And high rep conventional deadlifts have really brought me up a lot. One thing I struggle with is grip problem. So you can add in farmer's walk, something like that. Anything you're going to be holding anything for a long time, I mean, you can just do rack pull and hold it, and it'll really help your grip. But that's one of my personal problems. If he was a little bit weaker up top at the lockout, I would tell him to do more glute work. Another reason a lot of people miss up top is not necessarily a weak glute, but a glute that doesn't activate. So if he's having trouble getting his glutes to activate up top, I tell him to do more glute bridges. But that's something a lot of people don't want to do. You just train. If you want to train it, any kind of hyper will hit the posterior chain completely. Really focus on pushing your toes when you're doing any kind of hyper like that, with a hand raiser or anything. Push your toes in. Don't let your heel touch the pad. This will engage your entire posterior chain a lot better. This is Brad Little for Juggernaut. Pulled 730 at 181, so pretty qualified what I'm teaching here. It's pretty much all I got. And Daniel, you thought you learned anything?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Okay, good.